Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is currently the 24th of January. Yeah, that makes sense. 24th of January in the year 2013, and this is Day 9 Daily, number 546, where we learn to be a better gamer. And very exciting news, I'm not actually at my house. Whoa! I am currently in Paris, France. I'm in Paris, where right now I'm at the Iron Gaming Studios studio because the Iron Squid is occurring this Saturday. So we're doing rehearsal tomorrow, we're doing the event on Saturday, and today I have this really awesome spiky helmeted thing. This is actually not the Eiffel Tower, this is actually just a sheet of paper that I can push on that's not a window. But that's okay. Every single set always has its illusions. Mine is that I actually live in a room in Los Angeles, but really, you know that the Day 9 Daily occurs from my space station that I ride my private jet to every day. I actually race my private jet with Artosis to my space station. Oh! Oh, that's right. We don't actually make very much money, but still, that's fine. I can fantasize about my private jet racing. Let me do it right by the microphone. I have a special setup, so I'm thrilled. In today's daily, what we're going to be doing is we're going to look at the round of 8 games between MarineKingPrime and SKMC, because on Saturday it will be MarineKingPrime versus Life. I'm happy to spoil that because it's already all over the internet. MarineKingPrime does win these games. And the other semifinal will be Dongregu versus Nest T. The two winners will, of course, face in the finals in a pretty expectable tournament format, where it's not whoever gets to the finals are awarded both winners and they high-five and walk off the stage. No, there's going to be a winner and a loser. Also, because I just got this setup working like 20 minutes ago, I didn't set the stream status on Team Liquid or any website. I didn't even put it on my own website. So if you're watching this live, you discovered the hidden jewel of this live daily. If you're watching on the archives, you probably just saw it on the YouTube feed. Regardless, thrilled to have you. Let's hop into this game. Oh my god, here we go. Gonna try this. Alright. I'm hoping this works. I don't have a multiple monitor setup. Here we go. This is going to be terrifying as I go into this game. I'm actually probably going to pause this midway through just to make sure everything's looking okay. You should be seeing a screen of a game. I actually have no idea if you are. And if you're typing something in the chat, I have no idea either. Again, I only have one monitor. I'm just looking at StarCraft right now. In these games, what I want to do is just point out some of the really fundamental, unique, cool things that MarineKingPrime does to perform so well. Because honestly, a lot of people know MarineKingPrime is that sort of variety player. He does a huge range of builds, and that's not necessarily good to have a huge range of builds. If you are excellent at one build, you're an excellent player. And if you're moderately good at 20 builds, then you're a moderately good player. So there has to be some goal with that kind of variety. So we're going to see how MarineKingPrime does 2 different builds with a standard opening, and we're also going to see the uniqueness of each of those. So let me just briefly step out of this game setup and just make sure. I'm just going to double check. Everything look good, chat? Please let me know. Chat, let me know if all the things look okay. If it's a little quiet, that's all right. There's not going to be an overlay in the game, by the way. Everything looks good? All right, cool. Cool. So far, so good. Audio, I have no ability to change right now, so it might be a little on the quiet side. Apologies. Apologies. Hop right back into this game. Excellent. So, excuse me. Apologies for the coughing as well. So, Marine King opens up with a fairly standard thing. Did I turn the sound off? No, good. It's on. Oh, thank goodness. Is it really on? Yeah, okay, I do hear the sound on. Phew. MarineKingPrime is going to open up in a fairly standard-ish fashion. We're going to be spending the first part of this game looking a lot at the basicness of the opening, and then talking a little bit about why it's so weird. So first of all, straight up in this setup, we do see that he's going for the standard sort of wall-off, and this is the most basic thing of every build. I think most people agree now that you absolutely should perform this wall off. And also, interestingly, this is as early a time as MKP could afford it. I mean, this is really, really quite early. I actually want to come back to this moment where look at his money. Right as he hits 100, he actually told this guy to halt mining at 95 just to be able to build this depot, construct it for a few half seconds, and then start building the barracks. MarineKingPrime absolutely does not want anything in here at all. This is going to be of notable significance in the future game. We're just going to look at 2 games from this series. So MarineKingPrime, by walling this off, immediately MC is in the harsh position of not knowing whether MKP is going for an early expand, or a fast gas 2 racks build, or a I think the camera was in the wrong position for a brief period of time, but that's fine. That's fine. I had it on my face. No big deal. But yeah, MKP is doing this nice setup where MC has absolutely no idea what could possibly be going on. And actually, because I had it on the wrong screen for a brief period, I just want to note the significance of this early move that we saw from MKP. That literally, as he is at just past 100 minerals, it does build that supply depot. So MC literally has minimum information. Now, we've looked at this basic setup before. Most people have traditionally argued, oh man, if I'm early expanding, I want to devote to early expanding. I want this SCV down there ASAP, building that command center. This is 100 minerals that could have been going to my command center. I don't know why I want to do that, but and all that is true. You can get a more optimized early expand and in effect get more money. So there has to be some excuse, some reason for why we're going to be able to do that. We're not going to answer it right now, but I just want you to note that there has to be some justification for why we can build the command center here and then waste time floating it over there. So Marine King is doing the usual move out. We can comfortably move this first Marine out. About 4:05 is as early a time as a Stalker can come out, so we can comfortably move this Marine straight up here if we want to. I think it's fine to do what MKP does and just leave the Marines here to maximally deny scouting. So okay, MarineKingPrime then moves on to do this very typical command center in the main base. And generally around 4:30 or so is about as early as a player can end up going straight for the expand. We see MC going for the double chrono boost on the Stalkers. Common sort of opening to do, and then to go for the expand. You just get the 2 Stalkers for the containiness. But still, 4:30 is a very reasonable time to note that you can make a first poke at this expansion. There's no real need to do the check before that point in time. Now remember, I was saying, why on earth would we do this wall off? We need to have some justification for why we can build this command center in here. MarineKingPrime does the first 2 basic steps of this. He goes for this 2 barracks before this critical bunker. He is skipping the bunker, and in fact, more importantly, MarineKingPrime is able to build these 2 refineries early before this bunker. This is the tremendous advantage that MKP gets. If he's really in a bind, if he, for instance, sees a Zealot, a Stalker, and then another chrono-boosted Stalker, which would namely be this one right here, he can easily fall back to his high ground if he needs. You don't have that edge if you go straight for the bunker. So this is the style that Flash has popularized quite a bit. This basic setup. And remember, after 4:30, 4:30 is about as early as the Nexus can go down if he's going a 1-gate Nexus. And also about 5 minutes is as late as it'll be. So if you scout up here at 5:15 and you see no Nexus, you can be like, all right, great, he's not going for a 1-gate early expand. Or he is, and he's just awful, and he's playing it like no APM. And if he's playing it no APM, he's either a computer or he died. Literally, he's at a computer dead. and I have a strong win rate against people who have died mid-game. It's like way over 50%. So, very typical. First Tech Lab, fantastic. MarineKingPrime is going to be able to get his upgrades started nice and early. Again, no bunker. Nifty with all this extra money / time saved. We're getting up them earliesness. And if, for some reason, MC decided to make a little push up, MKP has his wall off. Oh, how fantastic. What I want to do right now is I'm actually going to remember 5:30, and I'm going to come over here to Camp MC. And just note how things generally look. These two gateways will always be a little delayed for if more gateway units are built that are mineral heavy. In other words, if you see a lot of stalkers, a lot of zealots early on, like before that period of time, he's probably going to have some delayed gateways. So this is very typical as well. And then the robotics facility is going to be coming down almost always. Sometimes you will see the Twilight Council Forge. Sometimes you will see... Okay, look, sometimes you'll see other things. I'm not going to list them off in too excruciating of detail, but sometimes you'll see other things. But for the most part, I mean, all the way up until like 7:30, there's not really that much noteworthy stuff going on. Some little preliminary poking with these, some preliminary collecting of the sentries at the front. The simulators will almost always be down by 7 minutes. But even as we look around, getting a single observer, followed by, as you might imagine, more observers. Even at 750 or so, still MC has to build himself a Twilight Council, has to build himself a robo facility. And this is where I want to stop and hopefully come to my face. Now this is a scary moment for me for a number of reasons. This is terrifying. I don't know if any of the analysis that I just did showed up anywhere. I don't know if it was seen by anyone because I can't see my camera switcher while I'm in game. So I hope you got the chance to see everything I just said. Prayer is going to be very important. We pray to the gods of encoding, the most damnable gods of all time. You saw it? Thank you. Thank you, Smear. Or who said that? Yeah, Smith here. All right. The reason I'm coming back to my face is not only to check the camera switcher to make sure that something's showing up, but also to talk a little bit about the fundamental period of the Terran vs. Protoss matchup, the 10-minute mark. Why is this so, I want to say significant in French. Is it signifique? Signifiquement? Qu'est-ce que fuck? I don't know my French. Why is the 10-minute mark so significant? Because the prongs of attack are opened up for Terran. Ordinarily, Terran has to wander to the front and just sort of smash his head along the front of the Protoss base with unarmored Marines and maybe Stim with no combat shield, maybe some concussive shell but nothing else. Marauders, just bad units. The units are bad before around 9-10 minutes. But then you get the medevacs in there, so you can do the aggressive pushing at the front, the things popping in the back. Basically, 10 minutes marks medevac time. So almost all Protoss builds have something that gets chug-a-lugging at around 7 or 8 minutes. So that way it's ready at 10. Why are we seeing a Twilight Council go down around 8 minutes? So that way, when it's finished at 9, we can start getting all those key upgrades so we can be finished by 10 or 11. So that way when the attack comes, we do some force fielding, we hold them off, and then we're good. So all Protoss players have a plan of around 10 minutes is when we are really starting to get our defense going, and when we really need to have that defense going. So let's take a look at how MKP does this adjustment going into this game. Let's go into here. Now, in 3 seconds, I'm hoping that it goes into game. 3, 2, 1. Pray for me. Pray for me, guys. Pray for my soul. I'm going to come back to the 5-minute mark because I wanted to show MC's base over the last 2 minutes, so that way when we hop to the MKP cam, we can get a much stronger sense of how accelerated of play Marine King is doing. This is a little bit of what we already saw before I was showing my generally oversized head, except it's becoming a little bit normal size because I'm on a diet. And what does the Terran player normally do now? Save up for a factory and build the factory. what we're going to see MKP do is he's going to be having a little bit more aggression in mind, which is no surprise because MarineKingPrime is all about that aggression. And there we have the bunker going down. Our the orbital command from MarineKingPrime, oh no, it was flying this whole time, which means it was doing nothing. This is the whole reason why people start building the command center here instead of building it here and then floating it over as MarineKingPrime did. And what did I say at the start? I said we need to have some justification for this. Part of it was getting these 2 barracks earlier, these 2 guys, but I think even more importantly, we got these 2 gas geysers a lot earlier. What is the purpose of that? Well, now what we can do is we can get the add-ons to these earlier barracks 2 and 3 and get them a lot earlier. Here it comes. Oh, yeah. Specifically, this reactor takes a minute to build. For a full minute, we're not doing anything with this barracks. The amount of time we're not spending on building Marines is actually about the amount of money that we lost having this command center here and floating it. So in other words, this reactor buys us the perfect amount of time that we need to get our setup going. So this is actually a very early second tech lab, a very early reactor. And notice MarineKingPrime is broke in this period. So this is the perfect time to build these add-ons. Because, I mean, hell, if the add-ons were done, or if we left these barracks still building, they wouldn't really be able to be building anything anyways. So also with this extra gas, instant combat shield from MKP. Well, nearly instant. First he built a Marauder, but a very nearly instant combat shield and stim. Now, what normally happens, what the normal bear will tell you, is that this is a 11-minute push. Let me scratch my ear really fast. All right, cool. Now I'm back. Now the microphone is back. This setup is normally an 11-minute push. We're saying we want to get more Marauders early on with these 2 tech labs, and we want to get more upgrades early on. And then we're going to get a later factory. Flash gets a really fast factory, and he gets around 9-minute to 9-minute and 30-second Marine medevac pushes. But notice the weird thing that we're going to see MKP do. This is what's going to just frickin' blow your mind. Everything from here on out is pretty straightforward. Right when we start the factory, we also start our refinery number 3. Also, as our factory is wrapping up, starting the engineering bay. Flash generally gets this engineering bay quite early, so that way +1 is done for the medevac attack. And then it looks like we are going to be having the starport going down. Excellent. So everything here is pretty expected. Yeah, getting the starport, yeah, intuitive. This is a little surprising that we're seeing this go down so late, but here is this funkiness period. At 8:30, very early, MarineKingPrime moves out. He could actually have moved out about 20 seconds earlier, but almost every Protoss now is going to be quite surprised that this attack is en route. This attack is arriving at a very, very early time, and in fact it has some of the meteor units in here, more of the Marauders. There's also the concussive shell is done. So I'd like to note that this blink is going to be done in about a minute, in about 1 minute, with chrono boosts. Obviously it's 90 seconds away, but we can do about 2 or so chrono boosts. So yeah, it should be done a little after 10. These 3 gateways, look at their times. They'll be done in about 40 seconds. They're supposed to be finished up around 10 minutes, because 10 minutes is the big money time. But MarineKingPrime is striking quite a bit earlier. The medevacs are just now getting started, and this is why people would label this structure as an 11-minute push. These medevacs are going to pop out at 10 minutes and then take a little while longer to get over here. But now we're seeing MarineKingPrime able to get this attack started like lots earlier, and concussive shelled. Right there, doink. This is actually a really neat little push where, naturally MarineKingPrime is a little apprehensive to move up. But this early force, if it identified weakness at the front, could have sprinted right on up, not even knocking down the back and doing a lot more damage. plenty more of these stalkers are having to be set up. This break cannot really happen if a player is going for a more traditional flash style of play. For comparison, if the player was going for the more flash-esque move out and focus on getting the medevacs early, generally only just now would that player be able to start knocking these rocks down. So literally just this 30-second period of opened up aggression is enough to make most Protosses just totally cringe. Look at this. Just freaking barely not done. Just barely not done. Which is one of these reasons why I like watching Marine King. He's saying, okay, this is a map where it's really aggressive, and I can really get in my opponent's face because it's a shorter distance. So let me just do this tiny tweak adjustment, delay these medevacs, and then I can do this kind of attack. So excellent. I loves it. I'm hoping he can do it against Life on Saturday. Do some kind of odd, earlier timing push, especially on Ohana, which seems to be Marine King's map du jour, his map of choice. I'm going to be speeding it up just a bit. And now we're starting to see MC stabilize, but you can even see in the units loss tab and the supply tab, MarineKingPrime has just a little bit of an edge. Also, stalkers are generally not wanted because for every stalker you build, you basically cut into the ability to build another big tech structure, like a gateway or like the forges, like a robo facility. This is very MKP-esque. I would say if you at home are watching this and you're like, oh my god, I want to do the same build. I don't think you have to go SCV train mode. I don't think that this is like the... Now, look at this great all-in. That's the point of me showing you a daily. Guys, look, at SCV's heading. Oh, isn't this educational? Yes, now get on that Grandmaster ladder in North America and cheese everyone. Not the goal. I think Marine King is a solid enough player to identify appropriately when these SCV barges can occur. But it's this setup of being able to peel open this back door, deal some damage, and then do some sprinting in. De-emphasizing Marines, emphasizing Marauders, which makes these Stalkers a little bit weaker in the grand scheme of things. So this is very much so an early to mid-game composition. Also back home, I like this sort of consistency. Marauders are a mid-game force. Marines are very cheap, so you can conserve your gas to do things like get more upgrades. Even the little bit of gas it saves allows you to get like a Ghost Academy and whatnot. But I like MKP saying, all right, well, if I'm focusing on the mid-game, I may as well just focus on the mid-game. 2 more barracks before a 3rd command center, just focusing on the drilling of the face. Very much so what Bomber like to do. And with all them sacrificial SCVs, MKP eventually breaks in. It was hard, but he broke it in. Also, MarineKingPrime is one of the few players, if you watch in this matchup, he favors medevacs over Vikings against Colossus, and then he just micros, which is super, super badass. So we saw that first bust. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of the SCVs. I don't think it really turned the tide of battle, but MarineKingPrime disagrees with me. And keep in mind, we have more mid-game. We can throw down double Tech Lab and really begin drilling out them Marauders. Here come DOS SCVs. Not too much more analysis really needed here. MarineKingPrime has really done all the setuping that he needs. And obviously, as we see more Stalkers and more Mortals get constructed, we know that the tech is being delayed heavily at the backside. And high medevac count can never be discounted. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, etc. So I like Marine King. I think that was a really clean, straightforward example of, hey, I see this map. It's sort of small and aggressive. How do I make my build a little bit more aggressive? So it's essentially saying, okay, what does a 10-minute push normally take? It takes stim, combat shield, and a lot of units, and then medevac tech. And I put these on separate hands because most players try to get these to line up at 10 minutes. Even you have Flash throwing in a +1 attack upgrade in there, like right there. But what we're seeing MarineKingPrime do is he's saying, okay, well, how about we get this army part up earlier and then these medevac things later. So now I kind of have the 9-minute, 11-minute combo. And as we saw, just an extra 20, 30 seconds a lead time on that critical 10-minute period, that's more than enough to cause MC headaches. His blink not done, his gateway's not done. And I think most importantly of all, MKP actually could have moved out like 20 seconds earlier. Really awesome. Really, really awesome setup, and I really like that. So, I'm going to go to a break, because when we come back, we're going to look at one more game between MC and MKP, hopefully take some questions, and then I'll go. What time is it? It's 7:30. This is perfect. We're going to end right at 8. Ah, fantastissimo. I'll be back in a second. Once again, huge thanks to the fine folks at Iron Squid for inviting me out to the Iron Squid Chapter 2 Grand Finals, which is taking place in 2 days. Just go to ironsquid.tv. And this is their studio. I'm casting live from Iron Squid. Oh, yeah. Actually, the show isn't starting soon. We're on a break. All right. Be back in a second.